Welcome to the Veneration Podcast. Veneration is a fitness and nutrition coaching facility in Johnstown, Ohio, and while we obviously do the workout thing really well, we're obsessed with our town and with our community. On this podcast, we'll be covering local happenings, food and drink spots here in town, interviews with our awesome members and other local business owners in the area, and of course, we'll jam on fitness topics with our coaching team as well. If you're in Johnstown and looking to stay up to date with everything that's happening and learn a thing or two about how to enhance your fitness and nutrition along the way, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and get notified when we release new episodes. If you or a friend would like to begin your health and fitness journey with us, you can click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation. We'll sit down with you, learn more about your health and fitness goals today, and we'll get you started on the path to the new you right now. Enjoy the show. On Catherine's podcast, Catherine's episode, Courtney was out there on a phone call with you. So when you listen to it, the whole first 5 minutes, if you listen really closely, you can hear your guys' whole conversation. Hopefully you weren't talking about anybody, because the whole world heard it, or anybody who's listening to
I'm going to
this.
have to go listen back.
Oh God, what stupid thing did I say? I don't think I've ever done this with glasses on, and the headphones are wicked uncomfortable. But welcome back, dude.
Thanks, good to be back.
This is your inaugural episode on the Veneration Podcast, but you were actually the last episode. My glasses are freaking driving me nuts, bro. Your episode on my podcast is the last one that I've done there because this one took off, and this is where all my attention has been focused. So you're back and better than ever with a fresh cut, looking good.
Shout out to Laura.
Making me look like even more of a bum. Laura's boss, man. She cuts Riot's hair. Her and Court are always pushing me to get mine cut. So no, Laura is the best. What do you want to talk about?
Definitely, I want to start talking about a question I was asked if you could have, if there was any advice you could have been given before you started CrossFit. Definitely a question that popped into my mind. It was, if I could have been told anything, it would have been to be humble. Because you see a workout, and coming from a traditional weight room type of mindset, and I see 95 pounds as the RX, and I'm like, easy. Let's throw 135 on, actually. And then, 5 minutes in, I can't even pick up the barbell, and it's 95 pounds.
It's you quickly realize when there's no texting between sets, it's a completely different ball game.
It's a lot more fast paced, and I love it.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll dig into lessons here, but I want to let's set the stage for you. I'm going to introduce you a little bit. Okay. So, when you came on my podcast, you had just started coaching a couple months prior, I think, and you were in your orientation period. Now, fast forward, we're half a year in, I think, or something. Wow. It's been super fast, and your development has been incredible, and it's been fun to watch, but not only watch and witness. You're one of my coaches, and so that's kind of the Coach LA introduction. Prior to coming in to Veneration, CrossFit experience was extremely limited. So this is this really cool dynamic of you had all the attributes of a quality coach, and even a good fitness coach, but CrossFit and our methodology specifically, there was a learning curve there, and it's been a really freaking awesome ride thus far. So I want to get a good pulse on who you are. I want the people to get a good pulse on who you are. So I'm going to ask you a series of 3 questions. And I love this. It's very telling about the individual. So let's start with this. If you could watch one movie for the next 5 years, what would that movie be?
That's a tough one. Because I've watched a lot of movies that I'm like, ooh, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. Have you ever seen the movie Righteous Kill?
No, sir.
Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. They're detectives. It's a great movie. But if I had to watch one, it'd be that, because I think no matter how many times I see it, I'm still picking up new information on it.
Sweet.
It's one of those movies. So,
De Niro, he is in Joker. Have you seen Joker?
Yeah.
So we just watched it for the first time. this weekend or a couple days ago. Holy crap! Hey, he's the game show host, right?
Yeah. Dude, that's a good movie.
It was a lot deeper than I was expecting, and now I remember people talking about it, like back in like 2019 or whatever when it came out, and I didn't understand what they were saying, and now after seeing it, it was like, whoa, and you're like, it's scary as hell because you're kind of rooting for him, because he's like, well, he's got a crappy situation, and people treat him like crap, but he is doing terrible things, so.
You almost can't blame them while you're watching the movie. You're like,
and then it's super freaking scary because you see people get treated like that. And then Joaquin Phoenix or whatever the actor's name is, he had been on a couple like talk shows around that time, and one was like I think like Jimmy Fallon. And apparently Jimmy Fallon didn't see the movie because he was treating him, like the actor, like he's treated in the movie on a talk show. I'm like, you need to watch the movie, dude, because like, this is about to end so poorly for you. So, okay, man, back to you. So my question too, in the series of Get to Know Coach LA, is if you could listen to one song, or even we can open it up to one artist, for the next 5 years. Who?
One song, Lake of Fire, Nirvana, MTV Unplugged album.
Okay.
Have you heard it?
No, I don't think so.
So have you heard any of their MTV Unplugged?
I don't think so.
Nirvana, MTV Unplugged. First of all their songs are on there are good. Anytime Kurt Cobain acoustic is it's gonna be a good song. But Lake of Fire is a cover, and I couldn't even tell you who the original artist is. But it's a great song.
I would have missed it. Okay, you tell me what I was gonna guess. Artist. You said it on
like Korn.
Yeah, man. I was.
So if I had to listen to them for 5 years straight, I probably wouldn't have a job or
be a really dark
be
person.
Sane. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be listening to MTV Unplugged, Nirvana's album. What was the song?
Lake of Fire.
Lake of Fire. Okay, I probably heard it right. Is it like popular?
Kinda.
Okay.
Kinda. Yeah, you probably heard it at some point.
Third question. One book that you would reread or read consistently over the next several years.
So right now I'm currently reading 2 books. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Yeah. I'm pretty deep into that one, and that one's pretty cool because there's challenges at the end of each chapter that really like force you to get out of your comfort zone. But the other book is by Dr. Mark Hyman, and it's all about nutrition. And I think that book is the one I would pick solely because I could read each chapter and learn. Like, as I'm reading it, I have to read every page a couple times to make sure I'm like fully understanding everything I'm reading, because it's a lot of information all at once. So I think like 5 years, I would still be learning something new each time I read it. So
yeah, it's not like one like a one and done. Like you could go right back to the start and pick up 15 new things each chapter as you go through. That's a great book. I know Court read it, and Can't Hurt Me. That's Goggins' book.
Yeah.
So how many things in your life are happening right now because of this book? I know one, right?
Yeah, one. I would say a few. Actually, I started talking about the book, and my girlfriend started reading it as well. So we're doing the challenges at the end of each chapter. One of them being, if you have a goal or something that you want to change about your life, write it on a sticky note, stick it on your bathroom mirror, so you have to see it every day. And we started doing that, and like, she was seeing her goals accomplished, and I started seeing mine accomplished, and it was weird because it was like you could have just made the goal, not seen it, and still accomplished it, but it was just weird how it worked so quick. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
because that was going to be my follow-up question: is does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
sweet.
I've been taking the notes off and then putting new ones up, and taking them off, putting new ones up. So it's really cool.
Before I was a father, and before we were married, the mirror in our bathroom, our only bathroom in our first house, instead of sticky notes, I took a like a chalk marker or like a whiteboard marker, I think, whatever, and I wrote some stuff. I had not read the book, but I think one of them had like very foul language in it, like to myself. And once you erase it, it's like you could still see it. Like when the mirror fogged up from a shower, you could still see it. So I was always nervous that like someone would be like washing their hands with hot water when they were over, and like it'd like come up on the mirror, and they'd be like, "What a psychopath!"
Like, this guy's crazy.
Like, why are you using that language to yourself, you Looney Tune? But that's really cool to hear that it's working. So what is talk about the big one?
The big one is I signed up for a marathon.
On what kind of notice? 6
weeks, which it's not terrible.
Let's talk about that process. What is the last? So how many weeks out are you?
2.
2 weeks out.
2 weeks and a couple days.
So you're 4 weeks in.
Yep.
What do the last four weeks look like in preparing for this?
Well, the first week I had never ran over 6-7 miles and at once in my entire life. So I was like, all right, let's start there. So I ran the first week. I ran 5 miles Monday through Friday, because when you start anything, you come out strong, right? And if you start in anything, you can come out strong and feel good about it. Week 2, I was like, all right, let's throw in a 10-mile day. Never ran that far, did it, and then I was like, oh, that wasn't terrible. So then I got Steele, who also had never ran 10 miles. The next time, I was like, hey, let's run 10 miles together. Awesome. So the next week, I was like, let's go to 15. And 15 was a lot harder. That was a harder jump. Did it on like a Monday, and I was wrecked after, but I recovered. And then Wednesday, me and Steele, I was like, Steele, hey, let's do 15. You did 10 with me last week, let's do 15. And we got to like 14, and I was like, it was very humid that day, but I think it was also more of a, I'm just crushed, and we stopped at 14, and that was tough. It was very humbling the last 4 weeks, thinking like I can go 5, 10, 15, 20, then I'm right there at 26, and it's not necessarily the case.
There's a threshold.
Yeah.
Okay.
But making jumps, I started looking at it instead of going 15 to 20, because you wouldn't take if your PR in a squat is 400 pounds, you wouldn't throw 450 on your next rep. You would make a smaller jump. So that's the way I'm looking at it for these last 2 weeks. It's just work your way up so I can at least hit one over 20 before
you go for the big.
Yeah.
26.2?
26.2.
26.2. So you're looking like, will you be satisfied with 20? Like in training?
If I could hit 20 before it, I'll be perfectly fine.
Sweet.
I think I'm confident in the adrenaline and
for sure.
Race day.
How confident are you? Do your headphones sound like crap? Did you sound like echoey? Like different than normal?
No.
Mine sound terrible. I don't want to impress anything because I don't want to like lose at all, but I might drop. Whatever. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm hearing everything you're saying like 2 times, but it's okay. 2 times, like.
Am I too close? Or?
No, it's not you at all. It's like, it feels like I'm in a cave. It's like sounds super weird, but I'll deal with it. It's okay. Hopefully it comes out good for the people listening. So you'll be confident having hit 20 in training. How would you rate your overall confidence in the whole process? Like, are you feeling good about like what the outcome will certainly be, which is completing it?
If you're asking me right now, yes. If you ask me like when I'm at like mile 14 and 15, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. But I think a lot of it, because honestly, I think my body can obviously handle 20. I think most people's bodies could handle it. Sure. It's a lot of mindset, and having, when you're by yourself and, the heat's coming down, you don't have music in or anything, and you're kind of just in your own head, it's a lot harder to keep going. But I'm slowly figuring that out. These runners who that's all they do is run, they got to be mentally tough, very mentally tough.
Have you been running without music?
I did a couple times with music, and it's all right. Coach Jake actually was the one that told me to start running with music, because I started without it, because I don't think on race day I'll wear headphones. Gotcha. And he told me to run with it when I'm training, because it'll, you kind of get in a groove and in a rhythm, and I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it. Gotcha. I like it without it. So,
because right now you're just trying to you're just getting volume in. You're just accumulating miles, right? So it's like with or without. So I like to do super difficult things without any external motivation. And I'm not trying to be like rah, like, but it really does. Like if you're going to do something crazy challenging, you might as well get all the benefits from it, which is like having to like face yourself and deal with those thoughts, especially when you're in a really compromised, at risk, weak state mentally. So I think I'm kind of with you. Like it's a toss up between like, I like good music and it's entertaining, but I'm not doing this to be entertained. I'm after something. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that something. So what's the goal, or is there multiple goals within this challenge? What are you after here?
It was kind of just something I hadn't done before, and looking at it, I was like, because before I had never ran over 6 or 7 miles. I don't even know how far I had ran before. I know it was under 10, and I was like, 26, that's a big jump. Like, I don't know if I can do it, so I kind of just signed up on the whim. That way I had no choice but to do it, right? I like to force myself to do something out of my comfort zone, because I played football. I like sprinting. That long distance endurance stuff's fun to an extent. I guess my perception of what was long distance has definitely changed. Like if you'd asked me 3 months ago if 6 miles was a long distance, I would have been like, yeah. But now I'm like, I don't even get tired till like that mile 10, mile 11. I'm like, huh. Like your perception of it just changes so quickly. So definitely, like, I just didn't know if it was something I could do, so I signed up for it, make myself do it.
So is the goal, like, is it going to be a successful day if you cross the finish line, when you cross the finish line, period? There's not like a time goal.
Absolutely. I'm not looking for a time goal. Another like side goal that I'm going to try to strive for, but I won't be completely crushed if it doesn't happen, is I want to consistently run the whole time. I don't want to have any walking within the miles. So that's like a little, like a side goal, but if I hit it, I hit it.
No, it's a really good one, man, because it's you could debate, and someone can probably debate this, but like that's likely all mental, right? Because you're still taking the steps. You're still, I suppose with running there is more of an impact. So like if you're feeling pain, but like it's like you're still moving forward, it's just at a greater pace. Like you can do a slow trot, call it a run, but it's not like it's just up from walking. So yeah, that's good.
It's my run might be slower at the end of the 26 than my normal walk, but like I know mentally I'm
running. Yeah, that's cool, man. Sweet. Well, I'm pumped. I'm glad that you got to talk about it, because this story is super cool, and especially like you said, on a whim. And I know you didn't buy the insurance on the ticket, right?
Checking out, it said you have the option to pay $98 extra for an option you up to the last day before you could cancel and get all your money back, or if like the weather happens or whatever, you get your money back, or you could not buy that and it's just a set rate that it was. So I was like, if I buy that, that's giving myself the option to quit. So
the whole time through the whole 6 weeks of training too, you always have this fallback plan. It's like, no, if I don't show up on game day, I deserve to lose. That's what you said, actually, right? That sounded really familiar. It's like, if I don't show up, I deserve to lose my money.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I'm stoked. A lot of people it's like the topic people are talking about right now. Like, I've heard it multiple times, actually. If I think Alexa said something about like, because Alexa's got some crazy stuff coming up, man. And I'll let her talk about that. I'm not going to, she's training silently and getting after it, and we're going to leave it that way. But she's like, I'm not near as crazy as LA doing something on the fly. And I was like, there's a little piece of crazy to that. Like, that's 6 weeks is a very small amount of time, but it's pretty sweet.
I'm excited, though.
I'm going to pause the conversation real quick to share something with you that I genuinely believe can change your life. About a decade ago, I had an interest in trying out this CrossFit thing, but my only option was to go to a gym and get thrown into a group class with 20 other people who had been doing it for years before me. I was way in over my head. The workout was insane. I didn't know anything, and I felt really silly jumping in that way. I knew there had to be a better way, and there was a better way. My wife and I founded Veneration in 2015, and we created the Veneration Immersion Program. That's 5 one-on-one 60-minute private sessions with your personal coach. We'll teach you the ropes and the lingo of CrossFit. You'll graduate VIP feeling smart, you'll know how to move safely, and you'll be prepared for success for years to come. Many people decide they don't want to come into class and they want to continue working one-on-one with their coach, and that's totally awesome. Veneration can be for everyone, but group class isn't. This is CrossFit done right. Click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation so that we can sit down to learn more about your health and fitness goals today. Now back to the show. Awesome. And hey, speaking of Alexa, that was an unintentional segue, but Alexa posed a question in our private Facebook group for our members at the gym. And I want to talk on that for a second. And then I think that you have been asked a question lately. Let's start there. Let's start on the question that you've been asked recently because it's a great one and it deserves to have light shed on it, more than just like the one-on-one conversation that you were having. So, tell me who asked the question, what it was, and then we'll jam on it a little bit.
So it was one of our 545ers, Pat, and he had asked, hey, me and Steph have been coming 5 days a week pretty consistently. Is that going to be counterproductive to our fitness? And I was like, well, no, absolutely not. And we talked about how the programming allows for you to follow 7 days a week, really, if you wanted, with upper body, lower body, dynamic and max effort for both, and then 2 general physical preparedness days, and then an active recovery day. So the way that our workouts are programmed in class, it's going to allow for you to go to work out 7 days a week if you wanted to and still stay healthy and not be, hitting a squat 7 days a week,
So it's a great answer, and there's a lot to say on this, and I'll try to keep it focused. Steele talked about this on I want to say maybe episode 6 or 7, somewhere around there. Steele talked about the perfect amount of days per week in our program, and he could not give a general answer, an overarching answer, because it is specific to your tenure in the program. How long have you been training in the program? Even more importantly, what is the goal? Are you after a specific micro goal in the weightlifting realm or in the endurance realm? Are you after a mental accomplishment? That's very important, is what the goal is, right? Mm-hmm. And so something that stands out to me, so it's specific to the individual. And another thing, you hit the nail on the head with the program is designed to be able to be accomplished 7 days a week, right? You can do this without any kind of interference with your workouts. So let's talk on that for a second, because this is actually, interestingly enough, it's the thing that I struggle conveying the most. And I take ownership of that. It's my fault that I haven't been able to find the right way to explain what constant variance means while following a curriculum and a template model. All right. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I've been accused of in the past is I had someone get really upset with me because I posed a question online that it started with are you feeling are you feeling that your workouts are randomized without purpose? Does your training in quotes look like spin on one day, a boot camp on the next day, kickboxing on another day? Because the fact of the matter is, just inherently that is random, even if it feels like you intentionally build it, right? No, that's not random. I built my schedule. Mondays I do this, Tuesdays I do this, but you're dabbling in 2 to 5 different programs. From an exercise science standpoint, anatomically and physiologically, you're training in a random fashion. Mm-hmm. So that's not a bash on anyone. My friend, if that keeps you moving, that's incredible. Like I'm so glad that you're doing 5 different programs and not sitting on the couch and living a sedentary lifestyle. But like, to talk about what we do, I forget that like that is really what exists out there, there are not really other group models that are like on a curriculum. Your options are really what we discussed, like a bunch of random stuff, bunch of random different programs, group fitness, like one day's spinning, the next day's kickboxing. And then the other end of the spectrum is like you found a program online, like a bodybuilding program, and Monday you do bicep, Tuesday you do back and whatever, right? Wednesday's legs, Thursday's cardio. And we live in a really quality middle ground of that, where we follow a templated curriculum, but it's not redundant in the same stuff every week. And so you hit the nail on the head by answering that question, is that because the way that our program is built, whether you're training privately with us or in a group, you're on a curriculum. So what you do Monday will not negatively affect what you do Tuesday. It actually, Tuesday compounds upon that and trains different movement patterns and muscle groups appropriately. And that the same is true for the rest of the week.
Another thing that kind of goes along with that is I get asked for new members, how many days a week should I come in? And if prior to it you were doing nothing but sitting at home, you weren't doing any kind of fitness, I'm not going to tell you to come, 6 days a week and do the active recovery on Sunday, ease into it. Everybody's body's different too. Some people require like a full rest day, especially as you're getting started, or maybe you've been doing it for years and you find that like, you do better if you see more results if you take, rest day, workout. So kind of just, it's different from each person. So there's no set number like, hey, this is how many days a week you need to be in here.
For real. So. For sure. And the challenging thing that I think that people try to balance, even if they don't realize it, is that you may be optimal, like 3 days a week, like you're performing well in your daily life, like in your job and stuff. But the problem that you're having is when you go on, off, on, or something like that, is you're struggling to get into a routine and a habit. You're not creating a chain of habit. And so every day, because you took Tuesday off between Monday and Wednesday, mustering up the quote motivation, which I hate, but to show up on Wednesday is much more difficult because you broke habit. So there's value in that too, 100%. Right? So like, in short, Pat, thank you for such a great question, because I think it's what a lot of people are thinking. The short answer is training 3 days a week, you'll get results just on a slower time than if you train 5 days a week. Regardless, you're not at any kind of risk for overtraining or injury in our program. It really is a conversation to have with your coach, like he did today. You gave him a great personalized answer. But as far as an overarching answer, I think we hit the nail on the head there. And so your next action step, if you're listening to this, is to talk to your coach and let's consider all the variables that we talked about so you can have a specific answer to you. So really good. Thank you, Pat, for a great question. Hey guys, I'm going to pause the conversation for just a quick second, and then I promise we'll get back to the show. But first, I need to ask you a very important question. Have you been working your tail off in the gym, but you're struggling to achieve results as quickly or maybe as profound as you would like? Do you feel that you've got a pretty good grip on what to eat, but you come up short on actually doing it most of the time? Do you need a total reset on how you've been eating? If any of those sound like you, my friend, you don't have to struggle alone any longer. Our professional coaches of Veneration Nutrition specialize in teaming up with working adults to establish a realistic action plan when it comes to their nutrition. No fads, no gimmicks, no cleanses, no shake plans or 30-day challenges, no quick tricks, strict paleo, keto, zone, none of that. We actually won't even put you on a meal plan. Instead, your Veneration Nutrition coach will meet you right where you're at in your life right now and team up to establish new habits that are sustainable and make sense in your life for the long run. You won't go hungry, you'll eat real food, and you'll set yourself up for a lifetime of healthy living. Not a quick 20-pound loss that you'll gain back in 3 months. If you're ready for some help from a professional coach who's been where you're at and understands your struggles, let's put this whole diet thing to bed once and for all. Click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation so we can sit down to learn more about your health and fitness goals today. If you're a current member of Veneration and you're interested in talking to a nutrition coach, you can use that link as well, or you can speak to one of your Veneration coaches anytime and we'll get you taken care of. Enjoy the rest of the show. So I want to talk for a second on Alexa's question. This is what I alluded to earlier. I'm going to talk on this, and I got a couple questions for you, and then I'll let you go because I don't want to run you over here. Alexa posted. My voice just gave out. Alexa posted in our private Facebook group, and she said, a thought that I had on my morning run that turned into a question. Others, quote, what is your 1 rep max? Me, quote, well, 5 years ago, ... And then, dude, did you hear that?
Our name.
Amazon just responded. So she says, my question is this: when do you scratch your 1 rep max and start over with a new, much lighter, might I add, 1 rep max? She's saying, well, so 5 years ago I could back squat X amount of weight, and today it's 15, 20, 30 pounds less than that for a large range of reasons. It could be, when do you use those numbers? And I was like, this is such an incredible question. And I answered it in the page, but I promised her we'd elaborate on it a little more on here. And what I want to applaud Alexa for is using, whether it was intentional or not, using the proper terminology, not to obsess over words, but they do have a different meaning. So she's asking, when do you scratch your 1 rep max and start over? This could have incorrectly been phrased as, when do you scratch your personal record and start over? And for commonality in language, it's important to differentiate between the two. Okay. So Alexa uses the right terminology in saying 1 rep max. Current 1 rep max, we like to use a number that's been established anywhere between like 8 to 12 months max, because a lot can happen in that time. And the prerequisite there is consistency. Like, just because you hit a 250 pound front squat in January of 2021 doesn't mean that you can use that number to determine percentage work in August of 2021 if you haven't been training, right? If you let excuses get the best of you, or something happened and you stayed out of the gym for 3 of those 8 months, like, now we're talking apples and oranges. Okay. So, there is some context there, but like, if you're training consistently, we're talking like within the last 12 months. So Alexa, that is the short answer to your question. That's when you, she keeps talking. That is when you update that number. Now, just to dig in a little bit deeper to shine some light on that, your personal record, that's for life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, if I run a 5-minute mile 6 years ago, I've done that thing, right? Like, if I summit a certain mountain, if I go skydiving, I've done that. I never get to take away the fact that I did the thing. But I don't make training decisions off of that. So I think, is that good? Does that help?
Absolutely. Like, if I was to ask you, what's the fastest mile you've ever ran? You said 5-minute mile. But then if I was like, hey, like, we're going to go run a mile right now, how fast can you run it right now? It's not the same.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of, no. Right? Like, there's a million. So, and I don't want to see people beating themselves up over like age and, well, I did this 10 years ago. Like, just because you're now whatever, fill in the blank, 40, 50, 60, that doesn't mean that you can't establish a new 1 rep max and that equates into a personal record. It's very possible just because you're getting older. Like, I'll make reference to a mountain again. Okay. I just watched 2 70-year-old women run up the side of Long's Peak in Colorado while I was huffing and puffing and near tears because I was like terrified. And like, we just have different stories. Like, maybe they've been doing that for, I'm telling you, the way they were performing.
I was going to say, maybe it was their first time.
Like, it might have been. I'm telling you, there's no way they don't live in altitude. And so like, there's no need to start giving yourself like a justification or an excuse as to why your numbers are or are not better than they once were 5, 10, 15 years ago. When you're talking about 1 rep max and personal record, those are 2 different things. And you need to be making training decisions today based off of a 1 rep max. And furthermore, my final point on this is that we value rate of perceived exertion. So like we want to see you be working at like an 80% output today, much more than 80% of your 1 rep max. So we use those. We throw out 80% of your 1 rep max as a starting point, as a jumping point, so we can begin a conversation about how you ate yesterday, how you ate this morning, how you slept. We have to start somewhere with a prescription. Again, quotes if you're just listening to this, but listening to your body is more important than anything. That's why you have a coach there to help you make those decisions. So
I like how you said listening to your body, because that's a very real thing. But sometimes our mind speaks a little bit louder than our body, and we perceive it as our body talking to us. So that's something that I think I've been struggling with running. It's like, oh man, my body's tired, but no, it's just my mind is tired, right? And I think it's very easy for people to fall into this where they're like, man, my body's hurting, but really it's just your mind. Your mind's tired, and it's something you got to kind of like push past to realize it's not your body. But definitely listening to your body is like a really, really, really good quote.
It's a great topic, and it's one that we can dig into, and we might want to save this for another conversation too. But and I think Steele and I talked about this a little bit as well. There's no reason we can't dive in deeper, but like discomfort versus pain/injury, right? And what you're saying is like, just because like that pool looks cold, right? Like it looks like it's I bet that's gonna be a cold swim. And I'm not like super down for that. Rather than just saying no and throwing the possibility away entirely, like you can dip your toe, ankle up to your knee in it and feel it out a little bit. Give yourself a chance to get acclimated to the cold. That's an analogy, right? So like that's true for anything. Now, if you do get into whatever that thing is, and it's like, okay, my shoulder is very uncomfortable right now, something's not right. We're not saying close your eyes, grit through it, and make it worse, right? Great topic. But yeah, the ultimate goal, guys, like we're here to help working adults learn to love to work out. I want you to walk out of the gym on 2 feet and have a good day at work. So these are all prescriptions that are starting points.
Absolutely.
Right. So great conversation, great topic. So Alexa, both Pat on the first question and Alexa, thank you so much for asking, because you allow us to dive in deep and answer the question that other people were thinking and some other questions, because we get to jam on it a little bit in long form here. So thank you for that. LA, I got a couple questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you get out of here because I know you're meeting with a client here in a minute. Who would you say has been the most influential person on your journey, and your journey defined by just your life thus far?
That was a deep question.
We were talking about back squats, and now we're talking about influential people.
Well, like when you started asking the question, I was like, all right, like he means here. And then you said, oh, and just your life. And I'm like, oh, that took a deep turn.
You can answer both: influential person in your career at Veneration and influential people in your life.
That's still tough. I think it's like, I don't know if I can put like one person,
That's fair.
for either one, honestly. Like there's just, I'm lucky enough to be surrounded at the gym by so many people who are willing to help, like from top all the way down to my peers to even members, who are just willing to help at all times, give feedback where it's needed, or sometimes just, hey, good job. Or, so I think, like, there's no one person I could be like, that person was definitely the most influential. Everybody's done a part in shaping the coach that I'm becoming. And then I would say the same for life, honestly. Like, I've been fortunate enough to have, both parents in my life, and brothers and other family members, friends who have supported me no matter what I've done. And like in the last year, I've taken like a complete turn on where I'm going with my life. So they've been supportive the whole way. So there's not really one person. I can just I got to thank everybody, because everybody has helped me get where I am right now.
And it's awesome that you recognize the value of that support, because when you have it, it's likely easy to and this is true for me too, like to assume that everybody has it, but there's plenty of people out there that are making these crazy changes in their life that they're terrified about, and people are telling them that they're stupid for it. So the fact that you recognize that is really awesome, and shout out to all of those people in your life who are in your corner, no matter what you're pursuing, as long as it's not like detrimental to your health or your, well, I mean, maybe running a marathon in 6 months or 6 weeks, you might be crazy for that. So, let's do a final question today. But before I ask that, how do our listeners connect with you? And the reason I'm asking this is because our members are listening to this, and maybe they have a question for you as a nutrition coach, or you as a group or private coach. Maybe there's someone listening to this that's not yet part of the Veneration community, and they have some questions to bounce off of you, or they're ready to get started with you. How does someone connect with you?
Like, well, if you see me in person, just come up and talk to me, because I'm very easy to talk to.
That is true.
And then, I mean, email is always a great way. It's just LA, 2 letters, at CrossFitVeneration.com. Or if you follow me on any of the social media outlets already, and this is where you're seeing it, then shoot me a message and I'll respond.
Awesome, man. And for those that don't know, step 1 in working with Coach LA is a conversation. He's not going to make you get down and do burpees on day 1, maybe day 2. But on day 1, it's just the process here is you get to sit down with him, and he's just going to ask you questions, kind of like we're doing right now. Just have a conversation so he can learn how he can help you best. I don't have, as owner and curator of Veneration, and in turn my team, I don't have a cookie cutter, hand you a paper, here's your plan. I don't have that for you, and I never will, and none of my teammates will. It's all about learning about you. And there's our alarm. It's all about learning about you and your struggles and your successes and what the heck you're trying to accomplish, because it's different than everyone around you in some degree. And then from there, we'll come up with a custom action plan for you and lead you every step of the way. And LA is the guy for that. So right on, man. Final question, and you're getting out of here. What life lesson that you've learned has changed your life and taught you the most?
100%. Like, if you're not happy doing something, then find something else. Because it's how I'm here. I mean, awesome, man.
I've got nothing else to add to that. You nailed it, and I hope that people take that seriously, because some extreme ownership there. That's a Jocko thing, right? Extreme ownership. Yeah. So here, I'll add something to it. Extreme ownership is not saying, oh, that's my fault. It's saying, oh, that's my fault, and this is what I'm going to do about it. And someone like you dives in head first and takes action. Even if it's not the most calculated thing in the world, we'll figure it out on the way, and we've done just that. Yep. So right on, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Next time you come on, we're going to talk, we're going to start the conversation talking about maybe some pain versus discomfort. It seems like a good jumping point, and we'll have plenty to talk on from there. But I will see you at the throwdown. You're going down.
Oh yeah. Right. Me and Pat are taking gold.
Whatever, guys. And we'll be back here next week with another guest. So in the meantime, everybody stay safe, keep moving out there, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.